What's going on, everybody? This is Island Hopper TV, and today we're going to talk about the best things to do while visiting Busan, South Korea. Let's do it. That's right, Island Hoppers. I spent 3 days going across Busan making this list of 21 things for you to do while visiting. In no particular order, first up is Haeundae Beach. As with many of the beaches in Busan, this is a man-made beach that was opened in 1965. It is open year-round, and in January they do a polar bear swim where people go into the water near freezing temperatures. But the good news is 6 months out of the year the weather is amazing and you can swim here, hang out, walk along the boardwalk, and really soak up the sunshine. It is an urban beach and there are many sky rises around here. This is where I stayed, and I can say they do have some good nightlife in the area. Now here we are at Busan X in the sky. This is the tallest building in Busan, and it's here in Haeundae Beach. It's an observatory. You go to the top and wow, the views are spectacular. Some of the best you'll find anywhere in Asia. The ticket price is around $13 per person, so it's not going to break the bank to go up here. The elevator moves really quickly, and then once you get up here, you'll see these views and the observatory. There are 3 levels to the observatory, starting on 98 and going up to the 100th floor, even an outdoor observation area with several cafes and some souvenir shopping to be done up here. Expect to spend around an hour or 2 up here, depending on if you want to eat or not, because they do have a restaurant. And up those stairs there is the highest Starbucks in South Korea. For those of you who watched our video about Seoul, best things to do, you know that I've been going across South Korea. I actually spent 7 days and I rode the bullet train from Seoul to Busan. If you guys want to check that out, that's on my other channel, VertCam. But that only took 3 hours to do, and it definitely was worthwhile to come all the way down here for those of you who are wondering if you should do both Seoul and Busan in the same trip. And just north of the beach is the Busan Sky Capsules. You can see these little rail cars that give you a great view overlooking the seaside. The Sky Capsules can hold up to 4 people. This is here at the Haeundae Blue Line Park at Mipo Station. They also do have a train, but I would try and get on one of these Sky Capsules if you can. The one-way ticket for a 2-seater Sky Capsule is 35,000 won. That's about 26 US dollars. And in case you're wondering how much $1 US is in Korean won, it's 1,353 Korean won at the time of making this video. And if you go back down to Haeundae Beach, if you have the family, take them to the Sea Life Aquarium. This is a fun place for the kids and adults too, because they have a wide variety of marine animals. If you purchase the ticket there, it's around 30,000 Korean won. That's about 22 US dollars. But if you go online, you might be able to get a better price, and I do know that there are discounts for children, military, and students. Also, I want to let you guys know I visited South Korea in October. I thought when I came here that it was going to be cold, but I found the temperatures to be mild in the 70s, and at night the weather was really nice. So don't worry coming here in October or even in May or April, because the weather is better than you might imagine. For those of you who do degrees Celsius, that's around 21 to 23 degrees the whole time I was here. Plenty of sunshine. It seems like the weather starts to get cold right there after Halloween in South Korea. So now let's talk about how to get around Busan to all these different places. That's what I'm going to show you now. So when you come to Busan, I highly recommend you get one of these transit cards for the subway. That's the most efficient way to get around the lack of effective taxi grabbing here. Subway and bus. Get one of these cards. You can get them at the convenience store. You can buy one-way tickets, but if you do that enough, you're going to get bored and just say, you know what, it's time to go to the convenience store. So I recommend when you land in South Korea, you just go and get this card straight away. There's a total of 6 lines for the subway and 114 stations in the metro area. So that's a really modern metro system and comfortable as well. It does get a bit crowded, especially during peak hours. And actually, let me give you a bit of a checklist for your arrival into Korea or Busan, depending on where you're going. You want to set up an eSIM or a SIM card right there at the airport with a phone number right away. You don't want to wait on that, because you're also going to need to download the apps Kakao. for hailing taxis, so try and download that before you arrive and then use your Korean phone number to set up the account. Something I want to say about riding the metro, the trains, in order to top up your card, you actually have to pay cash, so you're going to need cash for that. And one of the iconic landmarks you'll see here is the GWANGAN Bridge. There's also a beach nearby, which we'll be showing you. But going across this bridge is quite the sight. So at some point, try to drive across here. You'll see it's really impressive, and it's definitely one of the main landmarks. So in this case, hailing a taxi or a ride share would be the best way to go across that bridge. Now I want to further elaborate about the difficulty of hailing a taxi without a rideshare app in Busan. Now it is possible, and some areas are definitely easier than others. English isn't widely spoken here, so when you try to give the driver your address, there might be a communication or a translation error. And now here we are at the Gwangalli Beach area. This is a really beautiful beach, lots of nightlife, plenty of restaurants and pubs, hotels here as well. So if you're looking for a beach, if you're considering Haeundae or Gwangan, both are great options, but I would probably lean more towards this one just because it's closer to the city center. There is more beach activities and shows going on here on the actual beach than over at Haeundae, which I really liked. Plus the hotels, they get great views, whereas I didn't really find that in Haeundae. As far as the nightlife goes, the nightlife here at Gwangan is more along the beachfront and the boardwalk, whereas with Haeundae it's kind of tucked away up towards the hills. But either way, even if you don't want to stay down at one of the beaches, you can still come down here and enjoy yourself by taking the metro or the rideshare app, hailing a taxi and coming down here and spending a couple hours just kind of relaxing. Check out this friendly little dog I saw outside one of the shops. Now we're headed to a place called Spa Land. So what Spa Land is here in Centrum City, it's about 22 spas, and the price is around 17,000 to 20,000 won, depending on the timing. But you go in here, you put your shoes away, they give you clothes, and then you just kind of walk around, relax, spend 2 to 3 to 4 hours, however long you want. They also have cafes here. If you've never been to a spa land like this, it's really just a place to go and chill out and not think too hard about anything. So it's more of a leisure activity. They had hot tubs, cold tubs, and then they had saunas, they had relaxing chairs. So it's really just therapeutic. This is also at a very large mall, so you can do some shopping and then end up over here afterwards. Now, for those of you who work from your phone, I don't know how many of you are out there that do have the potential to check emails or work from your phone. That's something you can do while you're here. I've found people just kind of chilling out, checking emails, doing a little bit of work while hanging out here. And on a cold day, this is where you want to be. I mean, why would you want to be inside an office when you could be here working from your phone or chilling out? Now let's talk about some more entertainment areas. This here is Texas Street. It's a little bit more seedy than the other areas for nightlife, so keep that in mind. I only went here during the daytime. I didn't go here at night. I did notice there was quite a bit of Russian themed restaurants and bars, although there's of course some American names, but not very many American style cuisine or anything down here. But the name Texas Street obviously is American. But then right next door to there is Shanghai Street, which I would consider to be like a Chinatown. So expect to find some Chinese restaurants and some herbal medicine shops. And speaking of food, let's talk about some delicious local Korean food. I really indulged in Korean barbecue. I had lots of Korean barbecue, premium steak, pork belly, and then plenty of kimchi. For those of you who don't know what kimchi is, it's fermented cabbage or veggies. Then I had spare ribs, also some soups. Seafood is also very common here. You can find it all across Busan, especially on the coast. Going to the markets, they'll even cook it fresh for you. But I really found myself eating more Korean barbecue than anything else. I just love it so much. and I wash it down with an ice cold Cass beer, Cass CASS, which is the local beer. Now we're headed over to BIFF Square, that stands for Busan International Film Festival. It's also a food street and a walking area. If you want to try local food, straight off the grill or fresh off the grinder here, that's where it's going to be. Now here we are at the Jagalchi Fish Market. We're going to go inside here. Now all that fresh seafood I was talking about, this is where it's going to be. So I've never seen a fish market quite like this before. They have such an abundance of fish, shellfish, regular fish, scale fish, you name it. They're going to have it right here. And when I went through there, I was amazed at how much fresh fish. This must be the first stop for the fishermen before they actually start distributing it out around Korea, because the amount of fish I saw here was mind-blowing. It really was. They have an indoor area and then they have an outdoor area, and both are just equally packed. So if you want fresh fish, they'll cook it right there. You just order it and then take it to one of the barbecues or one of the restaurants and they'll basically prepare it for you. Honestly, I was amazed at how many big, giant crabs they have. I didn't even know there was that many in the ocean, let alone in a fish market. Now here we are at the cultural village of Gamcheon. If you go on TripAdvisor, this is actually considered one of the top activities to do. It's a colorful village that goes through a ravine in a canyon area that has steep stairs, twisting alleys, very nice houses. You almost wonder what it would be like to live here maybe 50 years ago. Even today, living here would be quite an experience. But when you come here, be ready to do a lot of walking. Try not to do the upstairs walking, because if you do that, you will get very tired. They have a place called Seeing Stars, which means that some people, when they walk up the actual stairs, they start seeing stars, because that's how far up you're going to go. So try to do the downhill version of this village. It is one of those places where you will find more of a cultural, old school Korea, whereas Busan, for the most part, is a very modern city. It almost feels like it's lost touch with the traditional Korea. So for me, I prefer places like this, but I will say this. This is one of those places that you got to go deep into and explore to really have a positive experience. A lot of people, they just show up here, spend 5 minutes, and then they leave without actually exploring the neighborhood. In fact, while I was here, I got a traditional Korean haircut. I didn't speak any Korean and he didn't speak any English, but he gave me a very nice shave and I was happy with the final result. Now here we are at GWKJE Market. This is a place you can find cheap souvenirs and other accessories such as handbags, backpacks, suitcases, clothing. So if you're looking for good deals, this is where you want to go do some shopping. There are several cheap markets like this across Busan, but the benefit of this one is its location and the size. So it's really got a great vibe, good location, big size, good prices. That's why I suggest this one. Now we're here at Book Street. This one's for all you book lovers. Although most of the books are in Korean or international languages aside from English, you can still find some English books here. But it's really just a collection of books, and people who are into literature, they may be interested to come down here, especially since they have so many different shops side by side along this block area. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this Things to Do in Busan video, please do consider watching our Seoul video if you plan to go up there. Also, our Things to Know About Visiting South Korea video. I'll put links to those below. Here we are now at the Busan Tower. We're going to go up to the top. It's also called the Diamond Tower. This is one of the original observatories. It's not quite as high as Sky X over in Haeundae Bay, but it goes way up there and the views are spectacular, looking out over the bay and the fish market. So it's worth it to go up here. It's not expensive either, and even though the building is old, don't get it twisted. The views are spectacular. It is worth it. The price is 8,400 Korean won. That's around $6.21 at the current market exchange. And just some interesting facts. The population here is around 3.5 million. It is the second largest city in South Korea, just behind Seoul. There's also going to be a Expo 2030 here. So the city's getting ready to build some very impressive architectural designs, do some unique engineering. So by the time 2030 comes around, expect Busan to get an even greater facelift. The city is actually known for its deep water port because it is the largest port here in South Korea, making it a logistical center for Asia and Korea in particular. Busan is considered more of a laid-back city for South Korea, so if you're looking for a peaceful destination, that's another reason to come here. And by the way, when it comes to South Korea population, that's around 52 million people as of 2022. Although, there has been a bit of a population decline happening here. Anyways, back to the Busan Tower. You can see they do have this exhibit for lights right downstairs, so it's more than just a tower. It's also got these light shows and other exhibits where you can take pictures. Now here we are at Fashion Street. And just down the road from the tower is going to be Fashion Street. Here you're going to find designer brands, shopping, Nike, Fila. All the designer companies are going to have a shop on Fashion Street, hence the name, right? And then there's the Korean arcades if you're looking for something to do in the evening. All right, now we're going to check out a mini arcade here in Busan. And with these arcades, they're a bit more focused on action and entertainment than they are on collectibles. Where I'm going to next, in Japan, you're going to see more of a focus and a shift towards collectibles. So don't expect the arcades to be similar like Japan here in Korea, because they're really not. Another thing you should check out is a selfie booth studio where you can take selfies in all sorts of different settings and environments. This is popular with young ladies in particular, or couples on dates. Alright, Island Hoppers, that's going to conclude this episode of Busan, South Korea. We will see you guys on the next one in Seoul or in Tokyo, where I'm headed next. So watch one of those videos by clicking the end screen.